Admiral Chen hurried through the reinforced corridors beneath Cheyenne Mountain, her security detail struggling to keep pace. Military personnel flattened themselves against the walls as she passed, their faces etched with a mixture of fear and determination. The facility had trained for this scenario countless times, but simulation was a poor substitute for the real thing. "Status report," she demanded as she entered the command center. The room buzzed with controlled chaos as technicians monitored global communications and defense systems. Colonel James Reeves approached with a tablet displaying real-time satellite imagery. 17 Craxian vessels in high orbit, 3 more, approaching from the dark side of the moon. Their energy signatures are off the charts, nothing like we've ever seen. Chen studied the angular ships, their metallic surfaces absorbing rather than reflecting sunlight. And the evacuation protocols? Operation Burrow is at 40% completion. Major population centers are being cleared through the primary access points. We're maintaining the appearance of surface evacuations while redirecting selected groups to the underground networks. On the main screen, news footage showed highways clogged with vehicles fleeing coastal cities, exactly what the Craxians would expect. What the footage didn't show were the thousands of civilians being redirected through subway tunnels, maintenance shafts, and converted sewer systems to the vast underground complexes that had been secretly constructed over decades. "Dr. Wei is requesting a direct line," a communications officer called out. Chen nodded and Wei's face appeared on a secondary screen. The scientist looked exhausted but focused, his laboratory visible behind him. "The decoy network is operational," I reported. "Thermal signatures are being projected across all major cities. The Craxians are tracking what they believe to be human heat signatures, but they're following our digital ghosts." "How long will the deception hold?" Chen asked. "The projections incorporate randomized movement patterns based on typical human behavior during crises. They should remain convincing for at least 48 hours. Beyond that?" Wei shrugged. A lieutenant rushed over with an intercept notice. "Admiral, we're picking up communications between the Craxian vessels. Our linguistics team has managed partial translation." The message appeared as text across the bottom of the main screen. "Primitive defense capabilities detected. Negligible threat. Proceed with species removal as scheduled." Chen's jaw tightened. They have no idea what they're in for. Colonel Reeves leaned closer. "Ma'am, should we reveal our orbital defense platforms? We could take out at least 3 of their ships before." "No," Chen cut him off. "We maintain the deception. Let them believe we're helpless. The longer they underestimate us, the more time we have to complete the evacuation." In the corridor, outside, a young technician named Maya Patel carried a secure hard drive containing the activation codes for Earth's hidden fleet. She had been selected for this role years ago, unknowingly subjected to psychological evaluations and loyalty tests. Throughout her career, now as the fate of humanity hung in the balance, she would board a stealth shuttle bound for the lunar base within the hour. Outside the mountain complex, snow began to fall, providing additional natural cover for the stream of unmarked vehicles coming and going from concealed entrances. High above, the Craxian ships adjusted their positions, preparing for what they believed would be a simple extermination mission. In orbit, War Master Krulax observed the primitive planet with 4 of his eyes, while his other 2 monitored tactical displays. "Begin the preliminary targeting sequence," he ordered, mandibles clicking with satisfaction. "Their nuclear weapons are pathetically inadequate. This species offers no challenge." His second-in-command approached with a data tablet. "War Master, our sensors detect unusual energy fluctuations beneath the planetary surface. Should we investigate?" Krulax dismissed the concern with a wave of his upper limb. "Irrelevant. Likely their primitive attempt at constructing bunkers. Nothing can withstand our purification beams." How wrong he was. Sarah Martinez kept her voice steady as she led her students deeper into the underground complex. The children, ages 8 to 10, followed with wide eyes and hushed voices, their emergency backpacks bobbing as they walked in 2 neat lines. Above them, what had once been their elementary school was now likely being monitored by Craxian sensors detecting carefully manufactured heat signatures Ms. Martinez, are the aliens going to find us? Whispered Emma, a freckled girl clutching a worn stuffed rabbit. No, sweetie. That's why we've been practicing these drills all year, Sarah replied, squeezing the girl's shoulder. What she didn't say was that those safety drills had been part of a global preparation program disguised as standard emergency readiness. The corridor opened into a vast chamber that made several children gasp. Hundreds of families were being processed at registration stations, while military personnel directed them toward residential sectors. The walls displayed simulated windows showing forest scenes and sunlight that looked startlingly real. "Welcome to Sanctuary 7, announced a calm voice over the speakers. "Please proceed to your assigned sections. Remember your orientation training." Sarah checked her teacher's badge, which now displayed new information. Sector E12, Education Division. Apparently, she would continue teaching, just half a mile beneath the Earth's surface. Meanwhile, in the Pentagon's Shadow Command Center, Admiral Chen monitored the global evacuation progress on a holographic display. Green indicators showed completed evacuations, while yellow marked operations in progress. Major cities pulsed with artificial activity signatures, fooling Craxian sensors into tracking phantom populations. "Sydney evacuation complete," reported a communications officer. "Lima at 87%, Cairo at 92%. Chen nodded, her expression grim. "And New York?" 63%. The Holland Tunnel access point experienced a structural issue, but engineering teams have rerouted civilians through the subway emergency exits. The Admiral's attention shifted to a separate screen showing Dr. Wei's laboratory. The scientist manipulated a three-dimensional model of Earth, adjusting the fake thermal signatures broadcast by the satellite network. "The Craxians are scanning, with increasing precision," Wei said without looking up. "They're starting to notice discrepancies in movement patterns. I'm adding programmed variations to simulate panic behaviors and institutional responses." "How much longer can you maintain the deception?" Chen asked. Wei's fingers danced across the controls. 24 hours with high confidence. Beyond that, they'll likely detect the pattern algorithms. An intelligence officer approached with a tablet. "Admiral, Craxian vessels are deploying smaller craft. Scout ships most likely. They're entering the atmosphere over major population centers." Chen's jaw tightened. "They're getting suspicious. Activate the surface contingent. Operation Mirage begins now." Across the globe, select military units that had remained on the surface initiated carefully choreographed defensive measures, just substantial enough to convince the Craxians they were facing Earth's actual resistance, but not significant enough to reveal humanity's true capabilities. In orbit, War Master Krulax observed the primitive defensive efforts with amusement. Pathetic surface-to-air missiles attempted to target his scout ships, most missing by significant margins. "These humans defend themselves with explosive chemical propellants," he remarked to his officers. "How did they ever achieve spaceflight?" His sensor officer approached, mandibles twitching nervously. "War Master, we're detecting unusual patterns in their population movements. Some urban centers show normal evacuation behaviors, but others..." "Others what?" Krulax snapped. "The thermal signatures appear consistent, too consistent for biological entities." For the first time, Krulax felt a flicker of concern. He activated the ship's deep scanning array, focusing it on the human city called London. "Increase scanning intensity," he ordered. "I want to know what these creatures are hiding." Below, in London's underground network, Maya Patel's stealth shuttle prepared for launch. Its departure timed precisely to coincide with a massive electromagnetic pulse that would temporarily blind the Craxian sensors. Just one of many contingencies in humanity's secret plan. Captain Leila Rodriguez guided the Nightshade through the debris field left by a destroyed Craxian scout ship. Her vessel's stealth systems absorbed, rather than reflected radar, making it virtually invisible to conventional detection methods. The shuttle's exterior constantly adjusted its temperature to match the surrounding space, leaving no thermal signature. "ETA to lunar base 3 minutes, her navigation officer reported. Rodriguez studied the tactical display where the Craxian fleet appeared as red markers orbiting Earth. Their attention remained focused on the planet's surface, unaware of the small craft slipping past their perimeter. "Status of Earth's defensive grid?" she asked. "Surface-to-space missiles deploying as scheduled. Conventional forces engaging Craxian scouts with calculated inefficiency." The tactical officer's fingers danced across his console. "Admiral Chen reports Operation Mirage is successfully diverting attention from the evacuation." Rodriguez nodded. "And the electromagnetic pulse?" "Ready on your mark." Lunar Base Galileo has confirmed reception window. She took a deep breath, fingers tightening on the controls. This mission represented 20 years of her life, training, in secret facilities, learning to pilot experimental craft, memorizing protocols that officially didn't exist. Everything had led to this moment. Mark. Earth's shadow temporarily concealed their approach to the moon as instruments registered a massive electromagnetic surge from the planet below. The Craxian ship's sensors would be overwhelmed for approximately 70 seconds, more than enough time for the nightshade to disappear into the lunar surface. The dark side of the moon loomed ahead, a barren landscape of craters and dust. Rodriguez adjusted course toward what appeared to be an ordinary impact site, until a narrow seam of light appeared along the crater's edge. The ground split open, revealing a cavernous hangar bay carved deep into the lunar rock. The nightshade descended into artificial gravity and atmosphere as massive doors closed overhead, concealing their entry point once more. Inside, the scale of humanity's secret became clear. Row upon row of warships lined the underground hangar, their designs unlike anything publicly known to exist. Commander Jackson Chen, no relation to the Admiral, but equally dedicated to Earth's defense, waited as Rodriguez's team disembarked. "Welcome to Operation Thunderhead," he said, extending his hand. "I trust you brought the activation codes?" Rodriguez nodded to Maya Patel, who stepped forward with the secure drive. "Full access to Earth's defense network and override capabilities for the quantum propulsion systems." They walked briskly through the facility to the command center, passing hundreds of crew members preparing for battle stations. Most had lived on the lunar base for years, their existence unknown to all but their closest family members, who believed they worked on classified deep-sea installations. "The fleet is at 97% readiness," Commander Chen explained as they entered a vast circular room dominated by holographic displays. 67 vessels across 4 vessel classes. The flagship Defiance awaits your command. Rodriguez approached the central platform where a sleek, predatory vessel rotated in holographic display. Unlike the bulky, utilitarian designs of public space programs, the Defiance featured smooth curves and an almost organic appearance, incorporating technology reverse-engineered from multiple recovered alien craft. "How long have we been building these?" Maya asked, her eyes wide. "The first keel was laid 28 years ago," Commander Chen replied. "Each incorporates technologies from 7 different recovered alien vessels, plus human innovations that exist nowhere in any published scientific literature." Rodriguez placed her palm on the authentication panel. "The Craxians believe they're exterminating a defenseless species. Let's show them how wrong they are." In Earth orbit, as the electromagnetic interference cleared from their sensors, a Craxian science officer reported an anomaly. "War Master, we detected an energy spike from the planet's surface followed by a momentary sensor blindness." War Master Krulax's mandibles clicked in annoyance. "A primitive attempt at electronic countermeasures. Nothing more." His attention remained fixed on Earth, never considering that the real threat might be assembling behind him. On the moon, his species had dismissed as a lifeless rock. Dr. Amir Khan moved through Arc 7's hydroponics bay, the artificial lighting, calibrated to mimic natural sunlight. Plants thrived in stacked growth chambers, from staple crops to medicinal herbs. Children from recently arrived families followed him in wide-eyed wonder as he conducted an impromptu tour. "This section alone can produce enough food for 5,000 people indefinitely," he explained, stopping to check a digital readout. "Each arc is designed to be entirely self-sufficient." A young boy raised his hand. "But what if the aliens find us?" Khan knelt to the child's level. "The arcs are protected by multiple layers of countermeasures. Our location is disguised by geological formations that naturally block scanning. The entrance points are designed to collapse if detected, and we have backup escape systems. He didn't mention the experimental quantum displacement technology. There was no point worrying the children with untested contingencies. His comm unit chimed with a priority signal. "Doctor, your presence is requested in Control Hub Alpha." Khan excused himself and hurried through the Ark's main thoroughfare, a vast atrium where newly arrived evacuees were being processed and assigned quarters. Medical stations provided screening and care, while orientation guides directed people to their designated sectors. In Control Hub Alpha, the Ark's nerve center, operators monitored life support systems, security measures, and communications with other facilities. The chief engineer, Dr. Sophia Patel, greeted him with a concerned expression. "The external sensors are detecting increased Craxian activity directly above us," she reported, gesturing to a tactical display showing alien scout ships crisscrossing the Sahara. "They've deployed ground-penetrating radar." Khan studied the readings. Heart racing. "Deploy the diffusion field. That should scatter their signals and mask our presence as natural cave systems." "Already active," Patel confirmed. "But they're being more thorough than anticipated. The field won't fool them." Indefinitely, a secure communication line activated, and Admiral Chen's face appeared on the main screen. "Dr. Khan, status report. Arc 7 is at 92% capacity," Khan reported. "Life support systems nominal. We're experiencing increased scrutiny from Craxian scouts, but countermeasures are holding." "They're getting suspicious at multiple sites," Chen replied grimly. "We need to accelerate final preparations. How soon can you have the quantum displacement system ready?" Khan exchanged glances with Patel. "It's still experimental. We've only conducted 3 successful small-scale tests. Moving an entire arc could—" "Doctor," Chen interrupted. "The countdown is at 31 hours. We need every option available." Khan nodded reluctantly. "We'll begin system priming. Earliest readiness would be 18 hours from now, but I must emphasize the risks." In Arc 12 beneath the Ural Mountains, similar conversations were taking place. Dr. Wei supervised the installation of the primary quantum resonance chamber, surrounded by technicians making final adjustments to the experimental technology that represented humanity's ultimate escape plan if Earth became uninhabitable. "Power consumption projections?" Wei asked, reviewing the simulations. "The displacement field will require 42% of our total reactor output," his assistant reported. "We can sustain it for approximately 17 minutes before risking core instability." Wei frowned. "That might not be enough time for full-phase transition. Keep working on power efficiency." Above ground, a Craxian scout ship hovered over a seemingly empty mountain range. Its sensors penetrated the surface, mapping subterranean formations. "Anomalous density readings at 3 kilometers depth," the pilot reported to the mothership. "Consistent with artificial structures." War Master Krulax considered this information with growing irritation. "Deploy excavation probes. I want visual confirmation." As the probes descended toward Earth's surface, emergency alerts flashed through. Arc 12's control room. Wei accessed the quantum communication network connecting all arcs and sent a single message. "Contingency Stardust active. 18 hours to displacement." The final phase of humanity's secret plan had begun earlier than anyone had hoped. Captain Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the Defiance, the flagship systems humming with quiet efficiency around her. The view screen displayed Earth partially eclipsed by the moon, the Craxian fleet visible as a constellation of angular shapes against the planet's blue curve. "All vessels report ready, Captain," her first officer announced. "Quantum drive signatures masked. Weapon systems charged but dormant." Rodriguez surveyed the tactical display where 67 human warships waited in formation, hidden behind the moon's bulk. Each represented a different aspect of humanity's secret technological achievements. Vessels that could phase partially out of conventional space, weapons that disrupted molecular bonds rather than simply creating explosions, shields that bent energy around the ship rather than absorbing it. "Comms. Patch me through to all ships," she ordered. When the channel opened, she spoke with measured calm. This is Captain Rodriguez. In 12 minutes, we execute Operation Thunderclap. The Craxians believe they're about to exterminate a primitive species incapable of defending itself. Today, we correct that misconception. She nodded to her tactical officer. Begin targeting solutions. Primary focus on their command vessels and weapons platforms. Defensive ships are secondary targets. Multiple targeting solutions locked, he confirmed. Phase variance calculated for all vessels. On her private channel, Admiral Chen's voice came through. Captain, the quantum shield generators are ready. We'll activate them the moment your attack begins. Understood, Admiral. And the evacuation? Status? 78% complete. Dr. Wei reports the quantum displacement system is being primed, but... Chen's voice tightened. The Craxians have discovered Arc 12. Their excavation probes are attempting to breach the outer shell. Rodriguez's jaw clenched. We'll draw their attention. How long do you need? 4 hours minimum to complete the evacuation. 6 preferred. You'll have it. Rodriguez ended the transmission and turned to her crew. Accelerate the timeline. All ships prepare for immediate phase shift on my mark. Throughout the fleet, crews activated the experimental quantum technology that allowed their ships to partially exist in a parallel dimension, visible as ghostly apparitions but almost impossible to target effectively. 3, 2, 1. Mark. The human fleet phased into quantum variance and accelerated toward Earth, splitting into 7 attack groups. They passed through the Craxian defensive screen like specters before solidifying just long enough to fire their weapons. Aboard the Craxian command ship, alarms blared as sensors detected the impossible. War Master! The tactical officer chittered in panic. Human vessels approaching from lunar orbit. Krulak stared in disbelief as his display showed ghostly ships materializing within his fleet's formation. Impossible! They have no technology. Capable of... His words cut off as the first barrage struck his vessel. Molecular disruptors causing portions of the hull to simply cease existing at the atomic level. 3 support ships detonated in rapid succession. Evasive maneuvers, he ordered. All ships concentrate fire on these phantom vessels, but targeting the human ships proved nearly impossible as they phased in and out of conventional space, appearing solid only in the moments they fired their weapons. On Earth, billions watched through remote feeds as a blue energy shield shimmered into existence around the planet. Dr. Wei stood in the primary control chamber beneath Cheyenne Mountain, directing power from the planet's magnetic core into the experimental shield generators. Shield integrity at 87%, reported a technician. Estimate 4 hours sustainable protection at current power levels. Wei nodded grimly. Reroute auxiliary power from non-critical systems. We need to buy time for the Orcs. In space. Captain Rodriguez watched as the Defiance's weapons tore through a Craxian heavy cruiser. Push forward. Target their command ship. Don't give them time to regroup. The battle for Earth had begun, and for the first time since their arrival, the Craxians felt fear. Dr. Wei hurried through the secured vault beneath Cheyenne Mountain, his security clearance granting access to chambers unknown even to most military personnel. 2 armed guards flanked the final door, a massive circular portal of composite materials that slid open with a hydraulic hiss. The inner chamber was bathed in soft blue light, emanating from a crystalline structure at its center. The artifact, recovered from deep beneath Antarctic ice in 1983, defied conventional analysis. Roughly cylindrical and approximately 2 meters tall, its surface was etched with symbols unlike any human language. Power levels? Wei asked the team of scientists monitoring the device. Stable, Dr. Lakshmi Nair replied, her eyes fixed on readings scrolling across her screen. The artifact is responding to the activation sequence, energy signature increasing by 12% every 90 seconds. Wei approached the ancient device, placing his hand on a scanner that confirmed his genetic identity before allowing access to the control interface, a hybrid of alien technology and human engineering. Begin final sequence, he ordered. Route communication satellites to amplify the signal. The artifact's glow intensified, pulsing rhythmically as it awakened fully for the first time in thousands of years. Symbols along its surface began to rotate and reconfigure. In orbit, The battle raged as human and Craxian vessels exchanged devastating fire. The Defiance rocked from a glancing blow, emergency systems activating throughout the ship. Shield integrity at 63%, reported the tactical officer. 2 Craxian heavy cruisers destroyed, but they're adapting to our phase variants. Captain Rodriguez gripped her command chair. Modify the phasing frequency. Keep them guessing. Her communications officer turned with urgent news. Captain, priority message from Dr. Wei. They're activating the predecessor beacon. Rodriguez nodded grimly. Understood. All ships, form defensive perimeter around Earth's southern hemisphere. Protect that signal at all costs. The ancient artifact now glowed with blinding intensity, its crystalline structure resonating at frequencies that penetrated normal space-time. Dr. Wei and his team stepped back as the device rose several centimeters, off its pedestal, suspended by its own energy field. Signal broadcasting, Dr. Nair confirmed. Quantum entanglement confirmed. The message is propagating faster than light. Wei's expression remained tense. And now we wait and hope someone is listening. In the vacuum of space, invisible to conventional sensors, the beacon's message spread outward in all directions simultaneously, carried through subspace corridors created by quantum entanglement. The message was simple yet profound. A distress call encoded with Earth's coordinates and a classification signal established eons ago by a now-vanished species. On the Craxian command ship, now damaged from multiple attacks, War Master Krulax received disturbing news from his science officer. War Master, we're detecting an unknown energy signature from the planet's southern polar region. It's unlike anything in our database. Krulax's mandibles clicked rapidly in agitation. These humans continue to surprise us. Target that energy source immediately. 3 Craxian battleships broke formation, descending toward Antarctica with weapons charged. Captain Rodriguez observed their movement on the tactical display. They've identified the beacon, she reported to Admiral Chen. Redirecting intercept forces now. In the chamber beneath Cheyenne Mountain, alarms sounded as sensors detected the approaching threat. 3 Craxian vessels on direct approach, a technician reported. Estimated time to weapons range, 4 minutes. Dr. Wei's hands moved across the control interface, securing the transmission. The beacon needs 7 more minutes to complete the full message sequence. Can we accelerate it? Admiral Chen asked through the communication link. Wei shook his head. The technology is beyond our full understanding. Altering the sequence might corrupt the message entirely. Chen's voice was resolute. Then we hold them off. Captain Rodriguez, deploy the orbital defense grid. Authorization code Phoenix. Rodriguez acknowledged, activating a system that had remained dormant until now. A network of automated defense platforms concealed in Earth's debris field. Another layer of humanity's secret preparations about to be revealed. Admiral Chen watched with grim satisfaction as Earth's hidden orbital defense platforms emerged from their dormant state. Disguised as defunct satellites and space debris, the weapons platforms had remained undetected by Craxian sensors. Now, they activated in sequence, targeting the battleships threatening the Antarctic beacon. Defense grid fully operational, reported her tactical officer. Firing solution acquired. Energy lances erupted from the platforms, converging on the lead Craxian vessel. Its shields flared and collapsed under the concentrated assault, allowing follow-up strikes to tear through its hull. The remaining 2 battleships broke off their approach, returning fire and destroying several defense platforms. They're regrouping, the officer noted, but we've bought Dr. Wei at least 3 more minutes. In the chamber beneath Antarctica, the ancient beacon's pulsations intensified, its crystalline surface now a blinding blue-white. Dr. Nair monitored the transmission with widening eyes. Energy levels exceeding all previous models, she reported. The beacon is drawing power from an unknown source. Transmission at 78% completion. Dr. Wei's comm unit activated with Captain Rodriguez's urgent voice. We're holding the line, but the Craxians have brought in reinforcements. How much longer? 2 minutes, Wei replied. The message sequence is nearly complete. In orbit, the Boai battle had reached a critical juncture. Human ships phased in and out of conventional space, their advanced weapons inflicting serious damage, but the Craxians' superior numbers were beginning to tell. 3 human vessels had been destroyed, and several more reported critical damage. The Defiant shuddered as a Craxian energy lance grazed its hull. Damage reports flooded in as Rodriguez ordered evasive maneuvers. Shield integrity at 31%. Her first officer reported, "We can't sustain this level of engagement much longer." "Hold position," Rodriguez ordered. "The beacon must complete its transmission." On the Craxian command ship, War Master Krulax reviewed the battle data with mounting rage. What should have been a simple extermination had become a costly engagement against opponents wielding technology that shouldn't have been possible. "Target their flagship," he ordered. "All remaining vessels, concentrate fire." As multiple Craxian warships turned toward the Defiance, sensors across both fleets suddenly registered massive energy distortions near Jupiter's orbit. Space itself seemed to fold and ripple as though something massive was pushing through the fabric of reality. "Unknown. Spatial anomalies detected," Rodriguez's science officer reported, voice hushed with awe. "Configuration matches no known natural phenomenon." The distortions resolved into precise geometric patterns before tearing open completely. Through these ruptures in space emerged 7 enormous vessels of startlingly different designs, each dwarfing even the largest Craxian battleship. In the beacon chamber, alarms sounded as instruments detected the new arrivals. "Transmission complete," Dr. Nair announced. "And we're receiving a response." The ancient artifact pulsed one final time before settling into a steady glow. Symbols appeared across its surface, translating automatically through systems humanity had spent decades developing. "Violation of protected space confirmed. Intervention authorized. Stand by for contact." Wei read aloud, his voice barely above a whisper. Throughout Earth's defense network, communication systems received the same message in 7 different languages simultaneously. "We are the Conclave. The predecessor beacon has awakened us to your plight. The violation of protected development space will cease." The Craxian fleet froze in confusion as the newcomers deployed impossibly advanced technology. A pulse of golden energy spread outward from the lead Conclave vessel, washing over the battlefield and temporarily disabling weapons systems on both sides. Admiral Chen watched in astonishment as her tactical display registered the power levels of the newcomers. "It worked," she breathed. "The ancient guardians are real." Humanity's final gambit had paid off beyond their wildest hopes. 3 days after the arrival of the Conclave, Admiral Chen, Dr. Wei, Captain Rodriguez, and Dr. Khan assembled in a hastily converted conference chamber within the Alps complex. The room's view screens displayed scenes from around the world as people emerged from underground arcs, blinking in sunlight that many had feared they would never see again. "Final evacuation numbers?" Chen asked, reviewing reports on her tablet. 86% of Earth's population successfully sheltered, Dr. Khan replied. The remaining 14% were either in transit or in regions where arc access was compromised by Craxian early targeting. "Casualties?" Chen's voice was quiet. "Far lower than any projections," Rodriguez answered. "The shield system held longer than expected, and the Conclave intervention prevented planetary bombardment." The chamber doors slid open, admitting their extraterrestrial guests. The Conclave delegation consisted of 7 representatives, each from a different species. Their appearances ranged from nearly human to utterly alien, yet all moved with the quiet confidence of advanced civilizations. The lead representative, who had introduced himself as Observer Thal, stepped forward. His translucent skin revealed complex circulatory patterns beneath, while 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern blinked in sequence. "Humanity has impressed us," Thal stated, his words translated by a small device at his throat. "Few species manage to develop quantum phasing technology before achieving regular interstellar travel. Fewer still maintain the discipline to keep such achievements hidden while preparing for potential threats." "We had help," Dr. Wei admitted, gesturing toward the holographic image of the predecessor beacon. Without the recovered technology, we would have been defenseless. That you recognize the beacon's purpose and successfully activated it speaks to your species' adaptability, replied a crystalline entity that identified itself as Nexus Cur. The predecessors left such devices on worlds with potential, but many civilizations destroy them out of fear or ignorance. Admiral Chen leaned forward. The Craxians, being escorted from this sector by Conclave peacekeepers, Thal explained. Their violation of protected development space carries serious consequences. They knew of Earth's protected status but calculated they could complete their operation before we detected the infraction. Dr. Khan frowned. If Earth was protected, why weren't we contacted earlier? The avian representative, Archivalist Pal, rustled iridescent feathers before responding. The Conclave follows strict non-interference protocols with developing civilizations. Your world was categorized as observation only until either you developed independent interstellar capabilities or faced extinction-level threats. By developing Protocol Safeguard and successfully deploying it during crisis, you demonstrated both technical innovation and cultural cohesion worthy of acceleration, added Thal. Most species would have fractured under such pressure, each faction seeking separate survival. Captain Rodriguez studied the star chart now displayed on the main screen, showing Earth's position relative to Conclave space. What happens now? That is humanity's choice, Thal replied. The Conclave offers provisional membership with access to knowledge and technologies appropriate to your development level. In return, Earth would accept certain responsibilities within galactic society. Outside the complex, the first transport shuttles from the Conclave flagship had landed on the Alpine Meadow. Crowds gathered at a respectful distance, watching in wonder as beings from beyond their imagination emerged. To formal diplomatic greeting. Within global communications networks, humanity shared its collective amazement. The secret plan that had saved Earth, Protocol Safeguard, was now public knowledge, its architects hailed as visionaries. Dr. Wei stepped to the window, watching children approaching the gathered aliens with curious excitement rather than fear. For centuries we wondered if we were alone in the universe, he said quietly. Now we know not only that we have neighbors, but that we're worthy of joining them. Admiral Chen smiled for the first time in days. The Craxians thought they could destroy Earth, but they've only succeeded in launching us into a new era. Sometimes the best defense isn't just preparing for the worst, it's being ready for something better.